Greetings and salutations, horror movie fans. My name is Gilbert Ybarra, and welcome back to the Attic Review. Alright, on the last episode of Tar, we talked about the newly crowned minted king of the requel Scream. But back in 2018, we also had another powerhouse. We had Halloween's release, which was phenomenal. I was pleasantly surprised. I liked so much about the movie. I like how they did a lot of inversion between Michael and Laurie. One of the biggest things I liked about it was the soundtrack. Oh my god, I love the musical score to this. So all in all, that movie was an A in my book. However, we know this. With great power comes great responsibilities because this movie made a shit ton of movie. Now when that happens, the studios are going to be like, hey, give us another one. And okay, I'm okay with that. Halloween Kills came out, or was supposed to come out, however, they now planned it as a trilogy. When they said it was going to be a planned trilogy, I was, I can't even say silently, I was more like, fuck! Now, I know what you're saying. Gilbert, why all the harsh words, especially for a beloved franchise? I know, and I don't mean to get this aggressive with it. However, when you're going to tell me that you're planning a trilogy, that means that you're going to leave out the second movie. You will, because you started off with a bang. It was wonderful. You left it on a good note with Halloween, and then they ordered one more. Now, if that was the case, then just one more, I'd be okay with it. But since you planned it to be a trilogy, that means that your focus is now on Halloween Ends. You are focused on the third part, so Halloween Kills unfortunately became the neglected middle child. And I'm going to show you examples of how. And this movie could have been so wonderful, but it got so stuck being filler and kind of like a stepping stool for Halloween Ends that I couldn't help but feel a little jaded. Again, please forgive me because I know Halloween and Michael Myers, they're like family. They're gonna get on our nerves. Sometimes we don't like them, but we still love them. Unless it's Rob Zombie's piece of shit movies, because fuck that. I hate those movies. I promise I did not plan for this review to be so aggressive, so I didn't hate this movie completely. In fact, I did find it enjoyable, and we're going to go over the three acts of the movie as I saw them play out, and I want to talk about not just what I didn't like about it, but what I did enjoy about the movie, alright? So let's talk about 2021's Halloween Kills, but let's check out that cool poster before we talk about it. Let's check it out. As we open up Halloween Kills, we find Cameron, Allison Strode's ex-boyfriend, walking around the streets of Haddonfield, regretting his, the shit that he said at the dance, unaware though of the L that Haddonfield took last night, alright? He's walking around and he comes across Officer Hawkins, alive, alright? I thought for sure that fool got clapped up in the first movie. Apparently he lived, good for him. However, this leads us to the first of many unnecessary flashbacks, but we get stuck with the flashback here. And buckle up, horror fans, because we are going back to 1978 as we see a young Hawkins and his partner, Officer McCabe, going through the streets of Haddonfield trying to find Mikey on the infamous night that he went on his murderous spree. As Hawkins and his partner are going through the house, they come across the dog that was mentioned in 1978, and holy crap, Mikey was really snacking on that. I mean, they didn't need to show that, but god damn it, I thought it was funny. Let's keep going.
The dead dog is here. Nothing.
God damn, that poor canine. But the officers are going through the house trying to find Mikey, and he makes a surprise pop attack on Officer McCabe, and Hawkins does something really stupid, injures McCabe, and essentially kind of fucked up that night because he had the chance to take out Mikey, and now he has to go on living forever with his guilt, knowing that he let the monster live, and 40 years later he came back to bite him in the ass. So again, I didn't like the flashback, but there was something really cool about the flashback that I want to talk about real quick.
Officer Hawkins, tell me what happened in here. Tell me what happened. Did Michael kill? Did Michael kill again?
Kind of off topic, I know, but still it had to do with the flashback. When they showed Dr. Loomis, that was not created by CGI effects. That was just good lighting and a hell of a lookalike, which I thought was neat because I thought for sure that was a CGI recreation of Dr. Loomis. Nope, just happened to be a stagehand that fit the right requirements, which was pretty cool in my eyes. The other part of the flashback that I really enjoyed was, again, I mentioned Officer Hawkins, but his partner, McCabe, was played by Jim Cummings. If you don't know who Jim Cummings is, well, as soon as I saw him on the screen, I was excited because he did a very, very underrated and under-talked about movie called The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which he actually, I think, created. I'm not sure if he wrote and directed it, but definitely started it and has something to do with the production of the film, and it is amazing. Check it out if you haven't seen it. We'll talk about it another time, but let's keep going forward with Mikey Myers. Enough of that flashback. Let's get back to Haddonfield 2018, where we are at a dive bar, I'm assuming, in Haddonfield, and we have a talent show. We see a husband and wife taking in the show, and we see some loud people in the background drinking, having a good time celebrating Halloween. Or at least we think they're celebrating Halloween, because these people behind that couple are all survivors of the 1978 attacks. We've got Lonnie, we've got little Lindsay, we've got Marion, the nurse that was attacked, and of course we've got Tommy Doyle. And I've got some questions about Tommy Doyle that were never answered, and we'll get into that later. But they are there reminiscing about the horrific things that happened on Haddonfield 40 years ago, and unfortunately are echoing tonight as we see the Strodes taking off to the hospital after their encounter with Michael again. They think their nightmare's over. This shit's not over, Strodes, because Mike has got something up his sleeve for those first responders going to his house. Oh, shit. Now, the Strode women have got to feel pretty good after the ass kicking they just gave Michael, but the fear is brought right back into their hearts as soon as they hear the firefighters rushing to Lori's house to put it out, because they're like, "Don't put out the fire, Michael's gonna kill you!" But you know, they're not gonna hear that because they're headed towards the house. Okay, and these firefighters, they're going over there to a very angry and irritated Michael Myers, because, let's face it, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. He was at the asylum minding his own business, okay? And then those idiots, reporters, journalists, whatever the hell you want to call them, just kept antagonizing my guy. And Michael's over there in his chains just like, "Quit antagonizing me," and they just...
Keep antagonizing me. Watch what happens. All right, then. Watch what happens. All right, then, Mark. Watch what happens.
Firefighters respond to an angry Michael. He pops out, and it was really neat. He takes care of the first couple of firefighters handily, but once he steps out, which was a really cool scene, god damn, Michael went off like he was Leonidas in 300 and just made such short work of those poor firefighters. My god, they never had a chance. Now Haddonfield's starting to wake up though. They're starting to find out news reportings of what's going on, and the rumor has it Mikey is out and about. So Tommy hears this, and plus there's an incident at the bar as well to be like, "Oh my god, we think Michael's here." So Tommy decides to grab the bar owner's bat and begins the stupidest chant mantra of this film or any film I've ever fucking heard, with this "Evil dies tonight."
Tommy, what are you doing?
Head nasty snatches my parking lot?
Yes, sir. Low lives today.
But Evil dies tonight.
Words cannot describe enough how much I hate that god-awful saying, "Evil dies tonight." However, it bands the community together to take the fight to Michael, and that's essentially what Act 1 was picking up the aftermath of the first part of Laurie kicking Michael's ass, and now the rest of the town's like, "Hey man, we should get in on this." And now that Tommy has the whole town in a frenzy to go find Michael, we find out though that it's not just Michael they're going after. There was someone else that escaped from that bus that also housed Michael, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit and how it drives more of this madness and unnecessary fodder for Halloween Kills. So that was essentially Act 1. Before we get into Act 2, I want to talk about what, not only what I disliked about it, but what I liked about Act 1. Okay, really quickly because I want to get into Act 2, but ultimately I did not like the flashbacks. This again seems like more like filler shit that they just had to take up time because they didn't have enough story for this part. So I did not like the flashbacks at all, or putting so much emphasis on Officer Hawkins. I don't give a shit about that. If you're gonna give me more background, how about Tommy Doyle? I read some stuff about novelization that explained it a little bit better that I wish the movie would have encompassed. Okay, so what did I enjoy about Halloween Kills? And I'm gonna say the sheer brutality and gore and violence of this film. Now, I know I talked shit about Rob Zombie earlier. Mr. Zombie, I love your music. I'm just not the biggest fan of your movies, especially the Halloween ones, but I do admire your use of gore and super violence. This film must have taken notes because when Michael went to the home of that couple that had that little drone and he did work, holy shit, that was really nice to see it. I was kind of at some point like, oh my god, you're still going to town, Mikey. So I admire the brutality of this film in Halloween Kills and how much faster and more aggressive Michael is. Again, like I said, I think he's just tired of Haddonfield giving him shit. Maybe I just have, what's it called, Stockholm Syndrome? I don't know. Let's get into Act 2.
Mask off, look him in the eye. Swing on Huckleberry here. Say night-night. Night-night.
So yes, I am smiling because the beginning of Act 2 introduces my favorite characters of the franchise, besides maybe Josh Hartnett and LL Cool J.
Fuck me, shit. What? You scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, but besides those two, we get to meet Big John and Little John.
Hey, Big John!
There's witches and broomsticks and big black hats, stirring up their potions in big black vats.
Did you turn that down? Christ! Little John.
Oh man, Big John and Little John are a couple that really enjoys Halloween, but made the mistake of buying the Myers house. And just time out, man, like why would you buy this house? You must know what went on in that house, and yet you were there. So let's continue going. Big John and Little John are enjoying Halloween festivities when they get messed with by some little kids. They explain to them whose house it is not to mess with the boogeyman, and we're gonna see those kids later on. So after meeting my favorite movie couple of all time, Big John and Little John, we go back to see Tommy organizing his wrecking crew. He's trying to get some people, the good people of Haddonfield, to go on the hunt for Michael Myers. Like I said, they want to take the fight to this guy. I don't know why they're doing this, but they decide it's a good idea because, hey, evil has to die tonight. God damn it, they got me saying it. The crew from the bar, minus Tommy, is going around looking for the shape, like I said. And they go to this one particular park where we saw those kids at Big John and Little John's house just doing little kid things, enjoying Halloween, not thinking about those creepy things going on boom in the dark. And they should be, because all of a sudden, as little Lindsay, now grown Lindsay, is explaining to the kids the situation kind of, woo-wee, do we have an unforgettable encounter where Michael Myers goes after that crew from the bar and shows them who owns this night. Time for a little park showdown, alright? We got Marcus and Vanessa, that couple from the bar, and then we have little Lindsay and Marion, that nurse that dealt with Michael in the original film. Oh my goodness, so Michael decided he's had enough of them chasing him down and goes after them, and it is a, lack of a better word, a bloodbath.
What the hell is that?
It's Michael.
Before these dumbasses really realize that this was more than they bargained for, they're getting slaughtered left and right, okay? And I'm enjoying this, and all of a sudden, Vanessa comes out of left field looking like Lonzo from Training Day.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Well, at least in Vanessa's mind, she looked like Lonzo from Training Day, because when she went after Mikey, it was quite a different outcome. You hate to see it happen, you truly do, but after Michael's done disposing of all of them, there's still one more, and little Lindsay Wallace comes out swinging, and Michael's about to get the upper hand, but she takes off, and she does something that not even Laurie Strode is able to do. She runs off, and she is actually successful at hiding away from Michael until Tommy gets to reunite with her, and they get the crew back together to keep going after Michael. And alright, let's finish up Act 2, alright? In no particular order, we're kind of back at the hospital where we see Laurie Strode recovering from her fight for Michael and also re-injuring herself as the mob mentality really takes over the hospital, and they're going after someone they believe is Michael. They're kind of wrong about that, but it's just highlighting more of the town's hysteria, which was one of my really peeves about this movie, is that they drug out this sequence too long, okay? I know everyone's in like mob mentality and hysteria is taking over, but at the same time, we are focusing too much on this, and that's how I knew, unfortunately, again, that this movie was a middle child with all this filler bullshit. Now, besides the hospital melee and stuff like that, which, I mean, I'm sorry, it's a cool homage to Halloween 2, the real Halloween 2, not Mr. Zombies, but the real Halloween 2 where Laurie was at the hospital. And I'm so sorry, I forgot, we are on a 6th timeline for this franchise. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out because in this timeline, that Halloween night with Laurie Strode at the hospital, that didn't happen. So I guess we kind of get Laurie Strode in the hospital in this universe, I guess? Again, though, focusing back on this universe after the hospital melee, or maybe before, like I said, in no particular order, we also find out that Michael is on the warpath to his house. And who's there? Like I said, my beloved characters, Big John and Little John, and I'm just gonna say it's not a happy encounter. And all this is coming to wrap up Act 2, and let's talk about Act 2. Okay, going with my overall theme of I didn't hate this movie, but I didn't love it. Act 2 was really weird because, again, I can't say this enough with the middle child syndrome that this Halloween trilogy created. This movie was stuck with a bunch of fillers, especially with Evil Dies Tonight chant and the mob mentality, hysteria shit. The Act 2, with the exception of the park and Big John and Little John, it's just like this movie at this point really lost me, and I just turned total heel here. I just started going for Michael Myers to wipe out everybody in that fucking city. Haddonfield, you had this coming. Let's get to Act 3. However, before we get to Act 3, do me a big favor, guys. I'm really bad at doing this. I gotta remind myself, please hit like and subscribe to this channel. I have a great time talking with you guys. Do me a favor, just subscribe. Okay, now for real, we can talk about Act 3. Alright, horror fans, we are at the 3rd act, and we know what's going to go down. We're going to see some bodies, blood, lots of blood, and lots more blood. Alright, we've got Lonnie, who survived an encounter with Michael in his youth. Now, him and his son Cameron and Allison, I'm not sure if they're back together at this point, who knows. Death and fear do crazy things to bring people back together. But these three are going around looking for Mikey, and they go to his house, and we know what's going to happen. Good lord. It should come as no shocker at all that the survivability rate of going to the Myers house is pretty much 0, okay? So thank God Allison is a strobe because she's limping around, and just in time, Mama Bear Karen comes around, saves her, and starts taunting Michael with his mask. She gets a hold of it somehow, and she's like, "Nana nana boo boo, I got your William Shatner mask. Come and chase me." And he does, alright? Now, he's being led to a trap, alright? Haddonfield is ready for a fucking beatdown. 40 years of being terrified by the shape. Woo! Call me tonight, alright? Evil dies tonight! Oh god, I did it again. But not so fast, mofos, because the town is giving them all they got, alright? And at first Michael Myers is like, oh god, you better call an ambulance. But not for me.
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me.
You know, you can't keep the shape down, baby. So Mikey rises and gives that poor community the most spectacular beatdown that the continental United States has probably ever seen. And oh my goodness, they get it bad. And Karen's thinking she's all right. Guess what, guys? Spoilers here. If you haven't already seen the movie, but I don't think she's going to be around for Halloween Ends. Just my hunch after seeing the scene. Before I forget, yes, Karen, I'm sorry, but I want to go back to Tommy because he talked all that shit all movie long. It probably wasn't even this night. He was probably around Haddonfield for the past 40 years. Yeah, if I saw Michael, I'd whoop his ass. You know I would. You know I would. And all night at that bar, alright, he even grabbed that bat and it's just like, come on, man, come and get some all night. And then when he sees Michael, because Tommy really thinks he has a chance against Michael, and he lets the rest of the town tenderize Mikey up for a little bit, and then when he goes in, if you guys haven't seen Silver Bullet, watch it because it is very reminiscent of when the town went after the werewolf, and what happened with that bat there too happened to Tommy, and that's what he gets.
Son of a bitch! Oh, shit!
So Halloween Kills, I'm basically happy that Haddonfield got what was coming to them because the movie makers made me do that, right? They made me angry for using this movie as just a simple stepping stone to get to Halloween Ends, and frankly guys, I don't know what to really think. To be honest, the only thing this movie really did spectacular was keeping Busta Rhymes out of this, because I heard there's rumors that they were gonna have him back, and after Resurrection, please don't do that.
Hey, Mikey! Happy fucking Halloween!
But besides avoiding Busta Rhymes in this film, I just am completely disappointed because they used this film as just preparatory work for Halloween Ends, which I didn't feel was right. Halloween 2018 ended in a nice way where, I mean, that could have been a standalone film. If they had treated Halloween Kills the same way without any indicators that this was the second part to a 3-part story, maybe I would have enjoyed this movie, but since they already let the cat out of the bag, this film was very unsatisfying to me, unfortunately. So ultimately, horror movie fans, I can't give this my stamp of approval. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought. Not to say I completely hated it, because it's still Halloween and Michael Myers, so they're family, I have to love them, but I didn't like them for this one. But I don't want to bash it too much, so here's 3 things I really did enjoy about it. The firefighter scene. Damn, that was really brutal. I love our firefighters, but that was eloquently shot and really showed the savageness that Michael Myers got after 40 years of being in that asylum. The park scene was really neat, especially seeing poor Marion getting attacked again in similar fashion to the 1978 incidents, and then ultimately anything with Big John and Little John, alright, because just watching Big John vibe out to his spooky records and stuff was a mood that I really liked watching.
Goblins will get you if you don't watch out. They take you and shake you until you shout. Stop, look, and listen.
Alright guys, so fingers crossed for Halloween Ends. I hope it's well. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch, and hopefully we can have a discussion about it, guys. Do me a favor, like and subscribe and share. Tell some people. I'm having a lot of fun with this, guys. So until next time, my name is Gilbert Ybarra. Thanks for watching the Attic Review. Smile, Tiger.